Okay, so Elon Musk, right?
Hmm.
We all know the name, right? SpaceX, Tesla, that whole sending a car into space thing.
Yeah,
Wild, right? But now he's decided to really shake things up, dive headfirst into the political ring, and it's something else.
definitely grabbing headlines.
That's putting it mildly. A cool $1 million every single day until the election. I mean, come on. We're not talking about a few campaign billboards here. This is next level stuff.
He's certainly not thinking small. This could reshape the entire 2024 election. Who knows?
And he's laser focused on one state and one state only, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. It seems like every election, all eyes are glued to the Keystone State.
Well,
Why is that? What makes Pennsylvania such a political heavyweight?
well, it all boils down to being a swing state. Basically, the voters there, they could go either way, not solidly behind one party or the other. That makes them absolutely crucial, especially in a close election.
So one state could really determine who wins the whole thing.
You got it. Remember 2016? It was down to the wire, and Pennsylvania was a game changer. One of a handful of states that flipped from blue to red, handing Trump the win,
Okay, so Pennsylvania has a history of keeping us all on the edge of our seats.
for sure.
But how does Elon Musk, with his millions and millions, fit into this whole picture?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. He's created something called AmericaPAC, which is basically a political action committee. Basically, think of it as a way to pool money together and use it to try to influence how elections turn out.
Right, like a giant political piggy bank.
Exactly.
But instead of spare change, we're talking about Musk pouring millions into it.
Exactly. And he's using it to run a daily lottery. Every single day, someone could win $1 million. But here's the catch. It's only open to registered voters in Pennsylvania.
Okay, now that's a pretty tempting reason to register to vote in Pennsylvania. Sign me up. But
Yeah.
there's got to be a catch, right? $1 million doesn't just fall out of the sky.
You're right, there is a catch. To enter this lottery, you have to sign a petition.
A petition, huh? So it's not as simple as, click here for a chance to be a millionaire.
Right.
So what's on this petition that's got everyone talking?
Well, the petition focuses on, well, a couple of key issues. It emphasizes, free speech, for example, and then there's the whole gun rights issue, things like that.
Hold on a second. Those sound really familiar. Those are some of the big issues at the center of Trump's campaign, aren't they?
You got it. And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, maybe a little controversial even, because by tying this lottery, this $1 million prize to the petition, it's like Musk is encouraging people to really get behind, engage with ideas that just happen to line up perfectly with Trump's campaign.
So this isn't just about giving away money. It's almost like he's found a clever way to support a candidate without actually telling people who to vote for.
It's a gray area.
A gray area, exactly. So is it even legal? I mean, can a billionaire just waltz in and try to influence an election with a giant pile of cash like that?
Well, you would think there'd be some rules against that, right?
Right.
But it's not as simple as it seems. Buying votes outright, like handing someone cash and saying, here's a stack of Benjamins, go vote for this person, that's totally illegal, no question.
Right. Even Elon Musk can't get away with that.
Exactly. But what Musk is doing, it's like he's walking on this fine line.
Yeah.
Legally speaking, it all comes down to intent. He's not saying vote for Trump. He's just, well, he's saying, here's a chance to win a life-changing amount of money, but you have to at least listen to what I have to say.
So he found a loophole, but it still feels a little, well, icky. I mean, we're talking about one very wealthy individual potentially wielding a lot of power over an election. That's got to be at least a little ethically questionable, right?
Yeah, it definitely raises some eyebrows. Even if it's technically legal, should someone with that much money be able to, even potentially sway an election like this? It's a debate we need to have.
It really is. Because, let's be honest, money talks. But this is like money is shouting from the rooftops with a megaphone made of $100 bills.
And that's why we're here. We need to dig into this, figure out if this is just clever marketing from a business genius or something more calculated.
Some big questions there. I'm glad you're here to help us unpack all of this. It feels like we're wading into uncharted territory here. I mean, where do you even begin to draw that line between getting voters engaged and straight up manipulating them? Has anything like this ever happened before in past campaigns?
Yeah, it's a really blurry line, isn't it? And it's something people have been debating forever, probably as long as there's been money in politics. I mean, there have been some creative campaign tactics over the years, but nothing quite like this. This scale is something else. Remember back in 2008, Ben & Jerry's?
The ice cream?
Yeah, they offered free scoops to everyone who voted on Election Day.
Wait, really? Free ice cream to, like, save democracy. That's amazing. There's got to be a butt coming, though.
Oh, there is. Their hearts were in the right place, but they actually ran into some legal trouble. Seems like offering anything of value in exchange for voting, even something as small as a scoop of ice cream, could be seen as trying to influence the election. They had to change their whole thing.
Wow. So even free ice cream can be a slippery slope when it comes to elections. Really shows you how delicate this whole thing is.
It really does. And what Musk's doing, it takes that to a whole other level. We're not talking about a scoop of ice cream here. We're talking about a life-changing amount of money.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money itself either. It's the whole idea that this could become the new normal. Like, if Musk pulls this off in Pennsylvania, who's to say we won't see these kinds of campaigns popping up in every swing state?
Precisely. It sets a precedent. Imagine a future where every election boils down to billionaires battling it out, trying to buy their preferred outcomes by dangling huge amounts of cash in front of voters.
Okay, that's a little dystopian, right?
Right.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But even if we set aside the whole ethical debate for a second, there's still that big question. Will it even work? Will this actually change how people vote?
The million-dollar question, literally.
Yeah.
It's really tough to say what kind of impact, if any, this will have.
So I guess we just sit back, watch the whole thing play out, and see what happens in November.
We can do a little more than just watch. Stay informed, talk about these issues, make your voice heard. This isn't just about Elon Musk or Pennsylvania. It's about the future of our democracy, and we all have a say in that.
Well said. So back to Pennsylvania for a sec. Why does this one state always seem to be in the spotlight come election time? Is it just because they have a lot of those swing voters?
It's more than that. Pennsylvania is like a miniature version of the whole country. You've got
Yeah.
big cities, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, they tend to be more liberal. And then you've got, these huge rural areas, they're more conservative. It's this whole mix of people and viewpoints, which makes it really hard to predict.
So it's a real toss-up, which explains why a campaign like Musk's, targeting a really specific group with a really specific message, could actually have a huge impact. It's like he's playing chess, high-stakes chess, and Pennsylvania is the king.
I like that analogy. And in chess, every move counts. Musk's just making one move in a much bigger game, but it could have huge ripple effects.
Throws a wrench into all the election predictions, that's for sure. Who knows what other surprises this election cycle has up its sleeve?
One thing's for sure, it'll be interesting.
It's kind of wild, right? Every 4 years, all eyes on Pennsylvania. Like you're saying, to really get America, you just gotta grab a Philly cheesesteak and, eavesdrop on the line?
Well, maybe not quite that simple.
But I get your point.
It's a microcosm,
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so unpredictable, so tempting for someone like Musk. He's not just throwing money around, he's playing it smart, targeting a very specific group, hoping to tip things in his favor.
And if this works in Pennsylvania, could we see the same playbook in other swing states? Like a domino effect, one after another?
It's not impossible. Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, all ripe for the picking, potentially. And that's the bigger question, isn't it? Are we headed toward elections where billionaires call the shots, literally buy their way to the outcome?
That's a scary thought. And it's bigger than just one election, right? It's about the whole system, our democracy.
Absolutely. How much influence should wealth buy you? Should one person, no matter how rich, have that much sway over everyone else?
Big questions and no easy answers. So what can we even do? As, regular people who just want a fair election, how do we make sure our voices aren't drowned out by, billionaires and their megaphones?
That is the million-dollar question. And it's not just on us, right? It's on our leaders, the whole system, to make sure things are fair, to resist this kind of influence.
This isn't a spectator sport, is it? We all have a role to play here. If we don't address this, we risk ending up in a world where money is all that matters.
Exactly. And nobody wants that.
Well said. Well, we started off talking about Elon Musk and his unique campaign strategy, but this has really become a much bigger conversation about the future of our democracy, hasn't it? Every election, every vote, it all matters. The choices we make now, they have real consequences.
Couldn't agree more.
And that's what we do here at The Deep Dive. We dig into these complex issues, get the conversation started, and hopefully leave you with more questions than answers. Because learning, understanding, that's a lifelong journey.
A journey we're all on together.
Exactly. So keep those questions coming, stay engaged, and keep the conversation going. This is The Deep Dive, signing off.